Good morning. This is Steve Bonoff, Printing Industry Midwest. Welcome to another Printing Industry Midwest webinar. We're excited to have Jordan Darragh today, our newest partner, associate member, and really representing an exciting new development in the industry as it relates to sustainability. We're going to get into that in just a moment, but as always, when you're at a PIM webinar, we want you to use the Q&A. You'll have a Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and you want to chat in your questions via Q&A. You're automatically muted and video is off, but we want to hear from you. So please use the Q&A option to share your questions, and we will respond either immediately or to make sure at the end of the event, we will be making sure that your questions are answered. We also recommend that you are viewing in full screen as well as the speaker view to make sure that you have the optimal viewing experience. And remember, you can always resize both the image and the presentation screen by just toggling back and forth and making each one bigger dependent upon how you like to view the recording. We will be recording this as we are now, with making this available to all registered attendees. So we want to get underway, and Jordan is with PrintReleaf, as I mentioned, our new partner in sustainability. And this is an exciting development because many of the sustainability programs that have been out in the industry, they have been waning as far as their clarity to the clients and their understanding of the importance of that sustainability. And so PrintReleaf allows us to have a direct relationship to client work with how that is actually impacting reforesting our planet. I personally have been involved in the 1 trillion tree program that's becoming a really important factor and part of our sustainability plan globally. I'm trying to bring it to my community here locally, and that has now actually been adopted. And so my city of St. Louis Park is going to be one of the first in the country to take on and to become part of the 1 trillion tree reforestation program. So I was excited to hear from Jordan and looking forward to having our members adopt this as a certification program and integrate it into their solution offering. So I want to welcome Jordan and have him take it away and share a little bit about himself, the company, and then talk about how this new program is going to work. Jordan?
Steve, thank you very much for having me today, and appreciate you scheduling this webinar to introduce PrintReleaf, and thank everyone for joining. My name is Jordan Darragh. I'm the CEO of PrintReleaf, and we're a new member, as Steve said, of the association with PIM. And what I'm going to do is just give you a brief presentation on what PrintReleaf is, how it works, also a software demonstration where we bring PrintReleaf to life. You can see how that interfaces with you as a printer, as well as on the flip side, your client. And we'll just talk about the environmental benefits as well as some of the financial model and how we go to market. So I'm going to kick it off, just give you a little bit of background on who we are, where we come from. Me personally, the early part of my career was in the office print industry, so not the commercial print side of things. And we have a sister company here in Colorado that sells Xerox equipment, HP equipment, and corresponding supplies and services. And PrintReleaf was born inside that company as a marketing idea. Customers were looking for sustainability solutions, and we looked at what was possible. We came up with this idea to measure paper consumption and then plant an equivalent number of trees in our customer name. And the idea was really popular with our customers, and some of the manufacturers that we work with, like Xerox, HP, Lexmark, et cetera, took note of it. And they said, this is something that you could share with the industry rather than just your own customer base in one market. And so we spun PrintReleaf out as its own company, and we did just that. We started licensing it to Xerox, their customers, not just in the US, but around the world, and it really began to grow. That was about 5 years ago. And in the last couple of years, some commercial printers heard about us. They contacted us and said, this is interesting. We'd like to learn more. And so we engaged with them, and we quickly learned about other similar schemes like FSC or SFI certification which we really had no prior knowledge to. And so we soon realized that we were similar to them, but also uniquely different. And what we did is we began to learn, how commercial printers would like to potentially work with us. What were some of the pain points with the existing schemes? What were some opportunities for us to improve the system for them? And that's what we've done the last year and a half, is we've engineered the product to go to market in the commercial print segment. And so the last year or so, we've gone out in earnest trying to earn partnerships with commercial printers around the industry. And one strategy that we found to be effective is to start by partnering with the PIA affiliates. And so PIM is new to PrintReleaf, but we have about 7 other affiliates that we are recently partnered with. And it's just been a nice way to introduce, our solution to the membership. At the same time, also bring some benefits to the table. And so I'm going to detail that when we get to the business side of this. But that's some history in terms of where we come from, where we are today, and maybe where we're going. So just to give you a basic introduction to what it is, it's a software platform that measures the paper consumption associated with any print job. And then we can take that data, convert it to how many trees that is, and then actually reforest that exact number of trees back into the natural environment through currently 8 different reforestation projects that we've developed with partners around the world. It's worth noting that our system is governed by an international company called SGS. They're a certifying body for FSC and SFI, but they also are a PrintReleaf certifying body. So they make sure all of our reforestation partners and their forests meet the minimum requirements of our standard, and then they audit our forests on an ongoing basis. So that just allows us to bring the whole system to market to partners like yourself, your customers, with a high level of transparency and integrity. All right, so let's just jump into how this works. The first step is measurement. So you'll input the data, the paper data associated with any specific print job, and we will process it through this formula that just over 83 pounds of paper equals 1 standard tree. This formula is not one that we invented. We just adopted it because we found that it was the most widely accepted across the print, paper, and forestry industry. It does live at the heart of the Environmental Paper Network's paper calculator. A number of Fortune 500 companies use that calculator to better understand what their environmental footprint is as a result of printing and paper consumption. And so we've embedded that at the heart of our software, so when you input the data for a particular print job, it'll automatically determine how many trees that is. Now, a standard tree, as you see here on the right side, is 40 feet by 7 inches wide. The trees we're planting are going to vary in size as well as survival rate. All of the trees we plant are native to the lands and the projects where they're geographically located. And so we have to pay attention to those variables as well. Make sure we plant enough trees to really create the amount of future biomass that is going to offset the amount of weighted paper for that particular job. The next step is to determine where that print job is going to be reforested. And so we've got projects located all around the world. A lot of these projects have been developed just based on customer interest and demand, depending on where they're located. A number of our customers do prefer to plant trees closer to home. So if they're located in the US, then naturally they may want to plant them there. Same thing if they're in Canada, et cetera. The one in the US is relatively close regionally. It's on the Pine Ridge Native American Reservation in South Dakota. So we've got a very large project there, capacity to plant millions of trees, replacing trees that were once lost due to a wildfire. And so that's part of our mission. These projects are not subject to harvest, so they're not tree farms or tree plantations. It really represents net new forestry to the planet because they are conservation projects where we're planting trees and they're protected. So that message, as it flows downstream to customers, really resonates positively as a marketing idea. All right, so just to detail some of the attributes of the PrintReleaf certification system relative to traditional chain of custody, I'm not going to go through every single one of these details, but the ones that tend to stick out most for printers and their customers are the top 4 here. The cost to apply PrintReleaf certification to the job. Generally, the feedback we've gotten is it's about 1 to 2% of the total cost of the print job. So if it costs today $10,000 to produce X print job, then it's going to cost about $100 to $200 to apply PrintReleaf certification to that job in addition. Some of the feedback we've gotten is it's less expensive than the FSC stock or SFI stock on a comparable basis. Additionally, and I think this might be one of the biggest positives, is we don't require an annual audit of your facility. So you no longer would have to pay to have an FSC or SFI auditor come in and audit your compliance operations. We're taking the audit process and we're pushing it down to the forest. So we're relying on you to put the data in for the print job. We'll process it. We'll certify that it's reforested. But then we're going to work with SGS, our auditor, to go and ensure that the trees are planted and survive. Additionally, we do issue artwork that can be placed on the print job itself with a unique ID. That is available to you in our software. I'm going to demonstrate that for you in a minute, but it's on demand. You don't have to wait for a proof to be approved. You can download it, high resolution, put it right on the job, keep your workflow moving, your business operations printing without any stop. And then lastly, this is more of a nuance, but sometimes we've heard that there's constraints on certain FSC or SFI stocks for different paper types. And we would remove that issue because as an application, you can really apply it to any stock of paper or even carton board or corrugate. It doesn't matter. So any paper stock or type, you can apply PrintReleaf to. Just to illustrate this, obviously, if customers are opting into existing chain of custody, the idea is they're sourcing paper, ultimately wood, from a sustainably managed forest. And with PrintReleaf, we're making the same market promise that if we measure your print job, we're going to reforest it on an equivalent basis. However, the opportunity does exist, and there are customers who are interested in it, where they want to source, say, FSC paper, and in addition, apply PrintReleaf certification. And if they do that, then the outcome or the claim can really be made that it's net positive to the planet, that they're actually planting more trees than they're consuming for that particular print job. All right, so we take the whole concept, we've built it into a technology platform, software platform. What this is intended to illustrate is that we can work across the spectrum of printing and paper consumption. Really, any paper type or medium can be measured and processed through our platform. PrintReleaf lives in the cloud in AWS, so there's nothing to install. And what these connectors here are intended to illustrate is really more forward-looking. We would like to integrate our software into existing MIS systems. So if you're running on, say, EFI, Monarch, or Pace, or Avanti, you could stay inside your system, building your estimate, and then just check the box for PrintReleaf, and then it would sync with our platform so that you wouldn't have to enter the data into PrintReleaf as a separate parallel process, which is the way it exists today. There's one exception to that. We recently just did complete our first integration with a system called ePMS. They've got about 500 printers active on their software around the country. So if you run on ePMS, then that opportunity for automation actually exists today. All right, so I'm going to cut over to the software here. Bear with me for a second. Okay, so now you should see a dashboard. It says Implant Demo. And what I'm going to do is just show you two different views. The first is going to be the back end of PrintReleaf. So this would be the experience for you as a commercial printer, how you can enter print jobs, how you can access different features, resources we have available to you. And then we'll turn it around so you can see what your end customer's experience would be as well. So starting here on the back end, you've got a high-level dashboard that just represents the total amount of paper that you've entered and ultimately we've measured across every print job that's been entered into PrintReleaf in your lifetime as a partner. So those numbers just continue to grow as you continue to enter more jobs over time. Obviously, then you've got the total number of trees reforested equivalent to the paper measured. Down below, this will be the recent print jobs or transactions that you've entered. So if you wanted to access those quickly for any reason, they're right here on the dashboard. And then on the upper right here, this lifetime impact statement, this is a document that we update and post to your portal, as well as email to any registered users on our software every month. And what it is, it's just a one-page summary, again, of the total number of trees planted in your lifetime as a partner and the distribution of where that's occurred around the world, really in partnership with your customers over time. So a lot of printers like this as just a simple way to promote their partnership with us when they're introducing it to their clients. You know, they might do that in social media or newsletters or in active sales meetings. We also make it easy for them to share on social media. So we've integrated PrintReleaf with Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And what that means is, as a partner, you can come here to your PrintReleaf profile page, which really serves a couple different purposes. The first is, just as I mentioned, you can share in really 2 clicks just by pushing the Facebook button. It'll pull up your lifetime impact statement, and then you can post that to, again, Facebook or the others, Twitter or LinkedIn. It also serves as your registration in our online directory. So as our brand and our logo begins to gain visibility in the marketplace, more and more customers are coming to our website and looking for a PrintReleaf certified printer. And so if they go to our directory, they'll be able to search for you on our website and then contact you to potentially print their job through you as a partner. All right, so that's the dashboard. A couple other things to point out. In terms of users, you can have an unlimited number of users. So this is often going to be estimators, salespeople, marketing, potentially executive leadership, public relations, anyone who needs to either use the software or pull down reports or access a system to help promote PrintReleaf and your story as a partner from a marketing perspective. So unlimited number of users. And then in terms of marketing, we have a content library that has artwork, brochures, flyers, posters for your shop, ads that can be placed into catalogs or magazines that might have ad spaces to fill, as well as a copy of this presentation that I'm giving today. And then something simple, but a lot of printers like, customers like as well, is this web widget. And what it is, it's a simple line of embed code that you can drop into your website. And if you become a partner of ours, you probably already have a section on your website that talks about sustainability or your commitments to the environment, potentially your FSC certification. And if you partner with PrintReleaf, you may want to build out a page on how your partnership with us works. And you could drop this line of embed code in, and it'll stream and post this visual here to update the total number of trees you've reforested as a partner over time. And it'll just dynamically update once a month. Customers can do the same thing. So we give them the same widget specific to their data, and they can drop that into their website. All right, so let's go to the heart of how this works. Go to accounts. First thing you would do to enter a job is you would add the customer that you want to enter the job for. Once you've got them set up, before you enter a job, the next thing you can do is, if I go to settings, I can then add a user. And what I'm doing, if I add a user under this customer, I'm basically inviting them to join PrintReleaf as well. So I could send an email to Steve at PIM. He would receive an email from PrintReleaf saying, please join us on PrintReleaf.com. He would click through a hyperlink and open up his own PrintReleaf portal as a customer. But now that we've got them built, I go to transactions, transactions is just another word for print job. I can start new transaction, and I can begin to enter the data for that particular customer. The job ID field is there to enter potentially a unique number from your MIS system, so it syncs up. It's not required, it's just there as a reference if you're going in and out of your MIS system and over to PrintReleaf, you can easily find it that way. But let's assume we don't need it right now. And I'm just going to enter the total paper weight for this particular print job. And before I say that, it's worth noting, you can enter the data by bulk weight or by paper specs. So paper specs is going to be, a database of different paper types, the width, length, number of sheets, multiple items. So if you've got different stocks for, say, a catalog, like the cover versus the body of that particular catalog, you can enter different paper types separately, or you could just add them together and again, just put in the total bulk weight of the job, which is what most printers do. I put in 500 pounds, I save it. What happens next is PrintReleaf then produces a quote from us to you as a partner. So in this case, it's $20. And actually, once we get to the pricing, it's slightly less for PIM members. And at this point, you can do whatever you want in terms of extending the cost to your customers. We don't have any rules around pricing between you and your client, nor do we publish pricing anywhere on our website or publicly anywhere. And so most printers do a strategy where they double the price. So if it's $20 from PrintReleaf to you as a printer, they'll charge their customer $40. That said, if you just want to pass it through at cost, you can do that. If you want to absorb it as a marketing cost, you can do that. If you want to triple it or quadruple it, again, that's up to you. Now, in terms of positioning it, whether you represent it and market it to your clients as a separate line item or put it in the overall cost of the job, again, that's at your discretion. Now, once we've got the quote, you can save this quote for later. You can select the date that you want it to post. So if you want it to post the date that you're going to invoice the job, or maybe it's for a job that you've already sold and you want to do that in the past, you've got some flexibility there. But let's just say the customer's accepted the quote and you're going to go ahead and submit it. Once I click submit, what's happening is you're depositing that data into PrintReleaf, and then on demand, we're going to return to you a few things here. The first thing is a certificate of reforestation. So this is a certificate for this particular job in the customer's name, and it represents the details that you input into the system. So the date, the location of the reforestation, the amount of paper we're reforesting, and the total number of trees. This same certificate is also going to post to your customer's portal. So if Steve logs into his PIM portal, he'll see the same print job post and the same certificate. Down below, we issue artwork on demand. All of these have the same unique ID number, but they're just different design options. So depending on the print job and your customer's preference, you've got some flexibility here as well. So it can be, horizontal, vertical, grayscale, color, personalized to say where it takes place, or just generic. Again, those are all just decisions that you can make with your customer. But you can download it on demand, put it on the job, and just keep moving in terms of your workflow. Now, this ID also serves a secondary purpose, and that's more from a compliance perspective. If I go to PrintReleaf.com, you'll see right here on the center of our homepage is you can verify any certificate. So just to play this out, if there was somebody at the dentist's office and they pick up a magazine and it's PrintReleaf certified, if they were curious enough to actually go and just explore what that number means, and they went to our website, they could put in that number right from the magazine, verify it, and it would pull up the certificate for that particular magazine with the number of trees planted to offset it. All right, so that's the back end. If I now go over to the customer front end, you'll see, at least initially here, that from a design perspective, it pretty much looks exactly the same. But the differences are the data is obviously going to be specific and unique to them. The transactions are only theirs. And then on the right side here, instead of providing them with a lifetime impact statement, we provide them with a lifetime certificate. So it's just a difference in terms. And the reason we use the term certificate for the client is it's audited by SGS, and the reforestation is specifically in their name and certified to them. So that's just the reason why. But this document is probably the most popular amongst all partners and customers, system-wide. Customers really like this document because it just promotes their total reforestation impact across all of their print jobs since they joined as a customer, under you as a printer from the beginning. So the numbers continue to grow, especially larger customers who have public-facing sustainability reports or initiatives that they report on. They'll take this document, they'll include it in their CSR reports, they'll make it a regular part of their, ongoing reporting and communications about their commitments to sustainability. Customers can also have an unlimited number of users. We also provide them with a number of marketing resources similar to you as a printer to help tell their PrintReleaf story. And then just from a tracking perspective, it's just a really clean way and database for customers to have an online archive of all of their transactions since they joined as a customer. Okay, I'm now going to go back to the presentation. And this will be distributed to the entire audience. So some of these slides are just intended to capture the deliverables I just demonstrated in the software. So the certificates, the statements, etc. Examples of how you can attach PrintReleaf certification to your print jobs. And now let's talk about the business model. The first thing, if you wanted to become a PrintReleaf partner, we do charge a one-time setup fee of either $295, $495, or $995. That value is dependent on your size and therefore the scope of our time investment to get you up and going, trained and launched. And so if you give us the green light, we'll invoice for that initially, and then we'll schedule a series of events to make sure your sales and marketing team is trained through a webinar similar to this, that they're comfortable with the talk track and representing the solution to your clients. And then likewise for your estimators, who are typically the same people who are entering the data into PrintReleaf that are working in your MIS systems. Whoever you want to administer the software is up to you, but that's just been our experience thus far. Then in addition to that, there's a monthly subscription fee for unlimited support really taking effect in two different ways. Technical support on the software, if there's any questions, administrative needs on different transactions, and then marketing support. So whether it's myself, our sales team, we're very active with our commercial print partners, especially in the early stages of launching the program with them. And that takes shape with not just internal training to your sales and marketing team, but often in presentations to clients as well. So if you've got some large target clients where you'd like to introduce PrintReleaf, whether they're existing or prospective clients, we can do the presentation alongside of you just until you're comfortable, you're doing it on your own. And we don't charge anything extra than that as part of the monthly fee, which again, that value is correspondent to your size of your company. All right, from there, the cost is transactional depending on the size of the print job. So you recall, the one example I just put in, it was 500 pounds. That would be 4 cents a pound. That's why it was 20 bucks on a regular basis to enter that print job and transact it on our system. As the volume of the job grows, the cost per pound decreases all the way down to a penny a pound for very large, long run, high volume jobs. Now, this is our cost if the printer was to contract with us directly. What we've done for the PIA network and for PIM specifically is we've discounted the rates basically by moving up each tier one level. Instead of 4 cents a pound, For 0 to 1,000 pounds, it's now 3 cents a pound. So the savings is pretty substantial, in the neighborhood of 20 to 25% for most print jobs that you're going to enter and transact through the system. Also, it's worth noting that in terms of how you work with us, it's really up to you. You could put in one print job per year. You could put in every single print job or anywhere in between. Just depends on how you want to go to market with us, maybe the profile of your customer base and how you want to partner with us. Some printers work with us strictly as an environmental solution. Others see PrintReleaf as a strategic marketing program that happens to also be an environmental solution as well. And so there's different ways to go forward with us. We just want to give you the full flexibility to work with us. Included in the pricing is really everything that I've presented today. So the trees, the software, which is, as a service being coded and developed every single day. So there's more features always coming out. Part of our forward-looking progress is really with an eye towards automation to do more integrations with MIS systems. And so that's something we'll actually be looking to our printer partners to help us with. So we've had some conversations with some of the bigger software manufacturers, and they've shown interest, but they really wanted the printers to come to them first and say, we would like PrintReleaf integrated with this, and the demand to come from that corner of the market. Specific to PIM, I had a conversation with Paul Gakowski last week and about the Great Green Printer program that PIM has. And he said PrintReleaf is a good fit for that overall initiative and can be recognized as a beyond compliance project as part of the overall program. And so if you're part of the Great Green Printer program or want to be, and want to understand how PrintReleaf fits into that overall initiative, the way we left it is it would be best to reach out to Paul. So I've got his information here, both email and phone number, and he can advise on how PrintReleaf fits into that overall program. And just as a leave behind, we do have a growing network of commercial printers that we're working with, but I want to provide some testimonials of some partners that have been with us for a while now, early adopters, and just some logos of some customers across the industry. The reality is we're very new to your geographic region, and so it's kind of an early greenfield opportunity for both of us to potentially grow together in your market, which is something we're looking forward to. And if you want to go forward, you can simply go to printreleaf.com/sign up, and what will happen is we'll receive notification through our website that you're interested in becoming a partner. Our sales team will reach out, confirm that you're part of the PIM membership, and then they'll work with you to get you up and going on your own portal, and then schedule a series of training events for your estimating and sales team, and then a launch program with your clients. So I can stop there, Steve, and we can open it up for any questions the audience might have.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. I think it's amazing of what you've developed, and the fact that you just seem to have, Jordan, seen every potential way that your customers might want to do business with you and how you can support them. You just seem to have it so well thought through. I'd appreciate if you could touch on the market acceptance right now and the market request. So talk a little bit about various markets that you find in your experience are finding much more acceptance to sustainability, actually kind of looking for this. How can you advise a print service provider of what would be the most likely type of customer and messaging towards that customer to have them seek a PrintReleaf program?
Sure. That could be a really long answer, but just to try and keep it concise, so the top of the market in terms of company size, they're under pressure from their stakeholders to be sustainably strong and compliant across a number of different areas of their business. It could be manufacturing and their carbon emissions. It could be their printing and making sure that they subscribe to sustainable forestry. they've typically got people who are, in positions to monitor that, drive and guide their initiatives as a company. So larger companies, Fortune 1000, are, a strike zone for print relief. And then you've got what I would call the middle market, middle of the smaller market, anyone who's already participating in a scheme like FSC or SFI, may be interested in alternative. They've already demonstrated that this is important to them, or else they wouldn't be, sourcing printing that has FSC certification. So having a conversation with them is an opportunity to introduce them to just a different alternative in print relief. And then in terms of the market across commercial print, I don't have a ton of data because we're so early in it to say anything really meaningful. We have seen across the print spectrum that customers that are direct mail, catalogs, magazines, that's where we're seeing the most adoption, I think, in terms of the print jobs that we're seeing flow through, really of all sizes. It could be a community newsletter up to some national publication. And then the last one that comes to mind as a target market would just be companies that are looking for something creative or innovative to attach print relief to. So there's some packaging companies where the business they may be in, the products that they're packaging might have some environmental attributes to it. So it could be, a food product that is organically farmed, and they now want to put it into packaging that is also, it has print relief certification attached to it as well. It's a nice fit for them in just, marketing their product.
Got it. Thank you. So I want to encourage any of the attendees to continue to post questions, or if you wanted to raise a question in live, we'll be happy to unmute you. I'd be curious as to the attendees of, what do you see as the barrier to adopting this program? Is it purely a customer cost equation that they don't, your customers are looking to get the lowest cost and maybe don't see the benefit of this? Or would you find it as your salespeople might not actually have part of this in their onboarding process? Would that be a barrier? I'd be curious to see hear from anybody of sharing about why they wouldn't do this program if they couldn't find it sustainable for their company. And while you're thinking of those questions, and I hope you please chat them in or raise your hand, Jordan, there is a question of would pressure sensitive materials fit into the program?
Honestly, I'm not sure what pressure sensitive materials specifically means. As long as it's, wood-based product at its core, like whether it's paper, cardboard, corrugate, you can enter that weighted data and we convert it to trees if it's a pressure sensitive material.
Have you worked with any label companies?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, for sure.
I would assume that that's kind of in the world that we're speaking about here.
Okay, yep, certainly.
Okay, so that answer would be yes.
Yes.
Pressure sensitive as liner, adhesive, and paper construction.
Got it.
So
yeah, I know there's a number of label printers that are active with us, and specifically what the data they're entering into our system. I don't have great visibility to exactly what those products are, but I know they're entering label data for us to reforest.
Fantastic. What do you see as the kind of the key to adoption, Jordan? Is it just taking the leap? Is it getting one or two customers on board, and that's then helping you get some print providers to sign on? What has been your experience of what has been kind of the key to getting companies to adopt?
Well, first, like you said, taking the leap. So, with that, I think it's also worth noting that we don't require any long-term contract. It's month-to-month software as a service. So you do have to pay to get up and get going, but it's a modest amount. And then you've got PrintReleaf as part of your arsenal. So then just taking it out to market, going out, talk to some prospects, talk to some clients. Our experience has been that, and I'm confident saying this, you're going to have a positive experience with them. And so it's going to, I think, then further your your interest to increase adoption across your existing customer base, adding more value in that relationship with your clients. One nuance to that is we've seen some printer client relationships further develop as a result of PrintReleaf, because it can potentially deepen and widen the people that you're working with at the client level. So pulling somebody in from marketing or public relations who now wants to hear part of the PrintReleaf story, understand that now they as a client are planting a number of trees in impact areas around the world, and they want to promote that story to their audience. So that's one of the benefits with existing clients. And then with new prospects, it could be a differentiator for you. I mentioned a few minutes ago, we're brand new to the PIM region. So going out to market, taking something to your prospect that they haven't heard of before that potentially is attractive to them can help potentially win more business for you as well.
Yeah, one of the ways that you're helping them, which I appreciated, is your all of the materials, the marketing materials that you have available to you. And I'm assuming those can be co-branded, people can put their own logos on them, et cetera.
Yes. Yep. They can co-brand it. We just don't allow for white labeling because we want to make sure our brand has recognition as an environmental standard.
Right. So obviously that's an important part of this. Can you share a little bit about what you're doing on the national stage to promote PrintReleaf, and so that customers can become acclimated to the program itself? Is there anything that you're doing that can also kind of support from that end?
Well, we're having this conversation with PIA affiliates around the country, and so our model has been to market through the printer to the clients. So we're not sitting here with millions of dollars in deep pockets putting together a national media campaign.
Yeah.
It's more organic in our approach, kind of from the ground up, and we found that that's working. So
yeah, well, and we're going to help you in that regard too, because some of the ads and some of the promotional materials that you have as part of the program, as our new partner, we will be taking that on. And so I want to share with our attendees that if you support PrintReleaf, we're going to support you to make sure that we're doing what we can at PIM to incorporate this program when we're out talking to your potential customers. For example, we have our program coming up in March. That's our print showcase, where we invite print buyers to attend the capabilities demonstrations of our current members. This year is going to be virtual, this coming one in 2021. And so we'll be discussing and sharing that event with print buyers all over the Midwest. And so we'll be including PrintReleaf as part of that conversation to make sure that they know that this is out there. And I think you're going to want to, as a print service provider, as part of the print showcase, to make sure that you're connecting the dots with, they're going to hear about that program on that event, and you're then also going to be a provider of that program so they can connect with members who are part of the PrintReleaf network. One question that did come through, and I think I know the answer, but you can share it better than I. Would corrugated materials and cartons be able to benefit from the program?
Yes. So as long as you know the weight of the corrugate or the carton, you can enter it into PrintReleaf, and it'll process the same way as traditional paper. You can take the logos, you can attach it to any packaging, deliverable to your client as well. So absolutely.
Yeah, so instead of tying it to a particular substrate, really anything that's paper, that's printed, is going to be part of your program, where you're just going to take the equivalent and put it into the system, and then make sure that the reforestation matches the needs of that particular print job.
Correct.
Yeah, great. Any other final questions? And then, so next step, Jordan, if they're interested, what do they do?
They could go to printreleaf.com. I'm just going to bring that slide back up, /sign up. And there's a form to fill out. Our sales team will respond, confirm you're a PIM member, make sure we establish the right pricing for you. And then we'll schedule a follow-on meeting with you individually to either further discuss the product and help you make a decision, or if you want to go forward, then we will work with you to implement our system with you as a printer.
Terrific. Well, Jordan, thank you so much. Any final words from you?
No, again, appreciate you having me today, and we look forward to working with your membership.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thanks everyone, and we'll see you at the next time on the next PIM webinar. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Steve. Bye.
Thank you.